shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
My husband and I came to First Presbyterian because we were looking for a church that lived their faith in the community.
In the First Presbyterian Church of Santa Fe, we are focusing in on being the beloved community. It's building that beloved community that Martin Luther King Jr. talked about during the Civil Rights Movement.
We have a duty to love our neighbors by helping end this terrible pandemic, keeping our community and families safe, and putting a stop to the senseless suffering and injustice caused by this awful disease. Here at First Presbyterian Church, we've given out over 400 vaccines and booster shots just in the last month, not only to adults, but also to children and families. The church must be the headlights guiding society towards compassion, justice, and thoughtfulness on COVID, and not the taillights merely following along, as Dr. King would have said.
Jesus described an important aspect of the beloved community when he said the greatest commandments are 1, love God with all your heart, and 2, love your neighbor. Today, our neighbors are all around the world. We have to learn to love, respect people who may sound a little different from us, look a little different from us, think a little different from us, be a little bit of a different color from us. If we can start loving, understanding, respecting our neighbors, we'll be doing our part to build the beloved community.
We're building the beloved community here at the First Presbyterian Church by sponsoring an Afghan refugee family coming from a war-torn part of the country. And why do we do this? Well, it's to extend hospitality and compassion and to have new friends and to find people who are scared in a new world to find home here. Any way we can help them out, we do.
We also fund things that are in Africa, in South Sudan, in Indonesia. The woman in South Sudan has done classrooms under trees, and we fund those classrooms throughout South Sudan. The mission co-worker that we are helping to support in Indonesia is doing fair trade products that she has the people in the villages around her make.
One of the things that I love most about First Presbyterian Church and this idea of the beloved community is that we're deeply committed to justice, whether that's working through the interfaith shelter to help the homeless or working through communities and schools to make sure that high school students have jackets for the winter time. Our church does a lot in terms of giving back to the local community and making a huge difference in justice and equality.
We started a watch night service, and it started before emancipation, that African Americans stayed up all night in anticipation of being free, and that was on New Year's Eve. And in African American churches, they will have a New Year's Eve watch night service. And last year, First Pres started a watch night service.
I'm the youth group for First Presbyterian Santa Fe. A lot of the people in the youth group have helped with the angel tree. Our church does participate in this every year. We plan it all of November. You pick an angel from the tree and you donate to the homeless shelter for the youth.
We have another group in our church called Second Family, and that's a group of people that really connect with senior members of the congregation that don't have family in Santa Fe to help care for them.
It's also about caring for creation and teaching future generations responsible stewardship of God's creation. And so right now our community is working to help other faith leaders and spiritual leaders to protect the Caja del Rio, which is a 105,000 acre area outside of the city of Santa Fe that's just pristine wildlands. And it's got incredible cultural and historical areas, whether it's 14th to 17th century Native American petroglyphs, the El Camino Real where the Spanish came through, or Route 66, kind of speaking to westward expansion and the broader American identity. So our church is working to get spiritual leaders and other faith communities more involved in conservation and responsible stewardship of this incredible area right here in our own Santa Fe backyard. And it's one of the things that I pride ourselves most at First Presbyterian is that we not only talk about responsible stewardship of creation and teach future generations like this, Brooke here, about that responsible stewardship, but we also work really hard to make sure that we engage and equip others to do work with us in that responsible stewardship of creation.
First Presbyterian Church's love and community continues to help me grow, and it's a place where we can share our passions.